All righty. It looks like we've got plenty of people in. Welcome, everybody. Como mai. Hello. All right. I think we're ready to begin. Let's go ahead and get started. Um, Aloha and welcome, everyone. My name is Christopher Martin, Director of Admissions here at Chaminade University. I'll be your host today for the PsyD Kickoff event as we introduce you to the Doctorate in Clinical Psychology, housed within the Hawaii School of Professional Psychology. Let's go ahead and take a look what we're going to cover in today's information session. So we're going to do a welcome with introductions. We'll talk a little bit more about Chaminade University. We're going to take a look at the program, specifically a little snapshot. I'll go into the admissions requirements, and we'll talk about the admissions process and timeline, how the application goes. We'll go into financial aid, followed by an admissions committee insight, and then we'll conclude with a Q&A, and then we'll talk about some next steps. All right, so now I want to introduce you to our amazing team here at Chaminade and my co-presenters. It's my pleasure to introduce Dr. Sean W. Scanlon, Associate Professor and Director of the Hawaii School of Professional Psychology here at Chaminade University. Dr. Scanlon earned his PhD in clinical psychology from UH Manoa and is a licensed clinical psychologist in the state of Hawaii. For over 25 years, he's held numerous psychology-related administrative roles and has served as HSPP's program director since 2014. He's also a past president of the Hawaii Psychological Association and currently serves on the State of Hawaii Board for Psychology. His expertise centers on child and adolescent psychopathology, assessment, and treatment, with a particular focus on ASD, ADHD, and other externalizing disorders. So, Sean, maybe if you want to wave at our audience. All right, thank you so much for joining us today. We're excited to hear a little bit more from you later. Next, I'd like to introduce you to the person who really makes the clinical psychology department go around, our program coordinator, Kapili. She's the one who will be with you every step of the way as a student, starting from scheduling your admissions interview to helping with course registration and doing so many other behind the scenes things to keep everything running smoothly. Honestly, she's the one you'll be thanking again and again for making things happen. Kapili, why don't you go ahead and wave? And yep, so everyone knows who Kapili is. She's wonderful. We love Kapili. And again, Kapili is also helping us take attendance. So it's best if you can go ahead and update your Zoom names so it matches the name that you use for registration. That lets us know that we can mark you as attended. If you can't do that for some reason, just send Kapili a direct message here on Zoom. And then next, I want to introduce you to my co-host for today, Lisa Trumbull. Lisa is the head of our graduate admissions department here at Chaminade, and she's been working in admissions and enrollment management for over 15 years. She really knows how to make what can sometimes feel like a complicated process much more approachable. She's really passionate about helping students find programs that truly align with their career goals and personal aspirations. Lisa, why don't you go ahead and wave at our audience? Thanks for being here, Lisa. And then that's me on the ends, Christopher Martin, Director of Admissions, and also the admissions counselor for the PsyD program. So I'm also a proud Chaminade alumnus, class of 2017, and I currently serve as the Director of Admissions. So really my role is to help you feel confident and comfortable throughout the admissions process as you prepare to submit your application and to ensure that your supplemental documents are received. I also oversee our PsyD admissions inbox. So in case you've been corresponding through the inbox, just know that you'll be working with me. So really just making sure to help you every step of the way. All right. So some housekeeping rules for today. Make sure you change your username to your first and last name. Keep your microphone muted because we don't want to have any overlay there. Please use the chat feature. We have a lot of amazing staff that are going to help you answer some of your questions today on the chat. And again, we are going to be recording this session and we'll be posting on our website soon so you can revisit it or share it with others who might be interested. And we also have a special guest with us today. We've got our current PsyD student, Megan Jackson. We're excited to have her here with us. Megan, would you please introduce yourself and let everyone know who you are and a little bit of your background?
Yeah, awesome. Thank you, Chris. So like you said, my name is Megan. I'm a third year student. So a little bit of background history about me is I did my undergrad I'm originally from North Carolina, Mount Olive, North Carolina, and I did my undergrad in psychology at Meredith College, which is a very small school. Probably haven't heard about it. But it was a great experience. So I'm used to kind of a small classes, very good relationship with my professors, things like that. And that's really what I wanted when looking for a graduate program. So that's a big reason why I loved Chaminade is that whenever I came to the campus for the tour, I was able to meet some of the professors, Dr. Scanlon, all of that. And I found out that it was more of a tight-knit cohort, which is what I have. Ratio, I don't know, maybe 10-1, something like that. I'm sure you'll get more statistics on that later. But I felt like that the professors are truly invested in my education. And this is a generalist program, but the faculty cover so many different interests and their background is so elaborate, which is awesome. So even though it's a generalist program, if you have like an interest that really is calling out to you that you're very passionate about or that you want to explore a little bit more, there's a very high chance that one of our amazing professors has experience in that. And if not, then I can almost guarantee they have connections with it. And if not, they will make a way to make you connected with someone. Like they are so dedicated to their students, which is awesome. So for example, I'm very interested in trauma. And my academic advisor, Dr. Atoga, has such an extensive background in trauma. We have a new professor on board this year too, same way. Dr. Ignacio has such a extensive history with trauma. So it's just amazing being able to like really dive deep and for them to be able to provide us with opportunities that I don't know if we'd have otherwise. Also just Chaminade has just so many great opportunities. Like they have over like 150 different assessment tools in the library, which is awesome and available for you to check out and to practice and all of that for you to learn and grow. And it doesn't help that it's in beautiful Hawaii. Who wouldn't want to study in Hawaii? You have to studying on the beach or reading articles on the beach is not a bad way to do it. In regards to my practicum history, so like I said, I'm a third year. So last year I was a second year and I was studying underneath Dr. Lisa Duke for practicum for diagnostic year. That was an amazing opportunity. We had a variety of different students from 1-year-old all the way to, I think the oldest person I had was a 91-year-old, 92-year-old, somewhere around there. So quite a variety, which is awesome. And a ton of different referrals. So dementia, ADHD, autism, stroke-related things, just a ton of different, needing to a psych evaluation for a job, just a ton of different referral reasons. So it wasn't the same thing every day, which was fun. She was a great kind of supervisor to be able to work underneath and provided a lot of experience. And this year, I'm super stoked that I'm practicing underneath Dr. Kara Lucy. This is a new practicum site for Chaminade, and she is amazing. I'm really being able to tap into that trauma interest that I have and work with a lot of complex trauma, which is super exciting to be able to really work with that area that I think I want to specialize in. And then in December, I have the super unique and just amazing opportunity to be able to get trained in EMDR. So I'm super excited about that and looking forward to all the different exciting opportunities that I have coming my way. So it's a little bit about me.
Megan, thank you so much for sharing your background. It was really cool kind of interacting with you via email. And this is a perfect opportunity for me to kind of remind our prospective students that we've got students from all over the world that are interested in this program. We've got students obviously from North Carolina, um, and Chaminade as a whole has people from all over the world. I'm originally from Virginia and came here for my master's, obviously. Lisa's from Illinois. We've got students from the neighbor islands. We've got students that are local here to Oahu. We've got international students from all over. So this is a great opportunity for you to interact and engage with students and find different perspectives in the classroom, which is, I feel, really, really important. One of the things that is special here at our beautiful campus.
I think another
Um, oh, go ahead. Yeah.
I think another thing with that is that I know with me, like looking back a couple years ago, whenever I was in these perspective shoes, thinking, oh, this is such a big transition going from the mainland to here. I mean, just all the different worries with that. And I do know that like Lisa, she really helped kind of make that transition easier with providing like housing resource ideas, like just a lot of different things like that that really helped, and kind of like what neighborhoods to look in, different things like that that really kind of helped kind of put my mind at ease. And then another thing that Chaminade has is a mentor-mentee program that they can pair up with like an upper cohort member, that can kind of help kind of make that transition a little bit smoother as well, and kind of give tips, tricks, different things like that, and really help answer all those questions and lower some of that anxiety of moving or just being at this if you're on island, kind of working at this graduate level, and what to expect, all of that. So those two things I think really helped with that transition from mainland to here.
Yeah, that's a perfect point. I moved to Hawaii for my master's sight unseen. I had, family and friends that had come here to visit, but I really took a chance and it was kind of scary, but also exciting at the same time. So I know exactly how you feel, Megan. And I'm sure there's a lot of students in our audience today that are similarly feeling both excited and a little bit nervous. But the community here at Chaminade, as Megan has already mentioned, is super supportive. We want people to come here, and we want them to get the most out of their experience, not just in, at Chaminade, but in Hawaii in general. So we've got people that want to help you with that transition. So again, feel free to ask questions today in the chat box, and then I'll provide my contact information at the end of this presentation if you want to ask me or Megan how our transitions here to Chaminade were. Thanks again for being here, Megan. All right, so I do want to play a quick little video that's going to show kind of what our campus looks like. And I do think this is a really beautiful campus. Obviously, I'm a little bit biased because I went to school here. I lived here in Kaimuki, and currently I live just above campus on the slopes of Kalaipōhaku in St. Louis Heights. So as I play this video, I'm going to be kind of just talking a little bit more about our campus, about our history. So Chaminade was founded in 1955, and we're obviously located on the slopes of Kalaipōhaku. So you can see here in this video that we are on a hill and we overlook Diamond Head and we overlook the ocean. So really amazing access to both the ocean and the mountains from Mauka to Makai. We're a 65-acre campus, Spanish mission style inspired architecture. And we've got amazing views of Honolulu, Waikiki, and it's conveniently located in Honolulu. So great restaurants here in Kaimuki, Wailai Avenue, Kapahulu. There's lots of great resources, places to eat, hang out, entertain, and adventure. That was one of the things that really stood out to me as a prospective student here at Chaminade was obviously getting, an integral quality education, but also being able to surround myself with like-minded people and be in a really fun and immersive place that aligned with my values. Our student body, we have about 1,000 undergraduate and 1,000 graduate students. We offer 8 master's degrees and 5 doctoral programs. As a matter of fact, our PsyD was the very first doctoral program offered at Chaminade, launched in 2019. But it's built on the long history of the Hawaii School of Professional Psychology, which has been training and preparing clinical psychologists in Hawaii for decades. Our graduate offerings have doubled in the last 5 years. Many graduate programs are available in flex online formats for students beyond Hawaii. Lisa's going to talk a little bit more about the structure of the program later in the presentation. But really, Chaminade is committed to growth within the School of Education and Behavioral Sciences. We have a strong emphasis on advancing education and supporting Hawaii's mental health needs. Our programs are designed to be valuable, relevant, and responsive to the evolving community needs. Um, so hopefully you enjoyed kind of the visuals of our campus. And again, please interact and engage with us. Let us know about our experiences here on our beautiful campus. At this time, I'd like to pass things over to Dr. Scanlon, who's going to be sharing a program overview with us. So go ahead and take it away, Dr. Scanlon.
All right, aloha kako, welcome. Thanks for taking the time to join us. I'm always impressed by these things because I get to see a whole bunch of people that are interested in helping others, which is we don't get to see too much. And you look at all these faces; these are all people that are committed to helping others. So very impressive on your pursuit, and thanks again for looking to learn more. So far as our program, like Megan said, we're generalists, so we do have kind of a set curriculum, which gives you a uh, general education and training in clinical psychology. The good part about that is it allows you to go ahead and specialize off of that foundation. So when Lisa goes over all the courses, you'll see that it is a pretty broad training. And like Megan said, yes, our faculty are very broad in our expertise and interests, so that part helps also. The ranking, yeah, we got that several years ago. Of course, I'm biased. We should be higher, but there's about 70 to 80 PsyD programs in the country, so we're pretty happy about that placement. Um, and I do go to meetings all the time with other programs, and I get to see what they offer their students. And I think, yes, we are definitely deserving of that ranking and even higher, I think. So we are the only fully accredited, APA accredited PsyD program in the state. We've been APA accredited as a program since '98. And we are, they gave us a 10-year, which is the maximum accreditation through 2030. And we're looking in good shape with that continuing. Really good about that. I feel very confident that when you come here that you'll be graduating from an APA accredited program. Primary source of licensed psychologists. Yes, so because we've been here since 1981, a lot of the psychologists in the state, if they have a PsyD after their name, it's probably because they came from our program. So yeah, trained hundreds and hundreds of psychologists that are now out there practicing. And also, like Megan said, yes, we do have a large assessment library, which is pretty good because it does allow the students to go ahead and get access to those instruments, when they are out there helping their clients. So I'm pretty proud about that.
All right, well, we can move on here. Aloha, everyone. I'm going to talk to you all a little bit about our 5-year study plan. So our program, it's designed as a full-time 5-year commitment. So that is regardless of your previous education. All students are going to move through the program together as part of a cohort or of about like 30 to 35 students. So for those of you that have a master's degree or maybe working on a master's degree right now and will have graduate level credits, you could potentially have up to 9 credits that could transfer in, but it is still going to be a 5-year program. Now our program, it's 103 credits in total. All of our courses are offered in person. There are no online or hybrid options. All of our other graduate programs have a lot of flexibility with evening classes or weekends or online, but not this program. It is a fully in residence professional program. So classes are going to be scheduled Monday through Friday and typically between the hours of 8:30 and 5:30. The PsyD follows the practitioner scholar model, meaning that while research is, of course, an important component, the focus of training is really preparing students for their clinical practice. Our program runs year-round, so fall and spring terms will be 16 weeks long, and the summer is an accelerated 8-week-long term. So even with summer courses, students still have about a 7-week break once the summer term ends and before the fall semester begins in late August. So here is the year-by-year breakdown. So in year number 1, students are going to be focusing on coursework only. Yeah, you'll have an assessment sequence of classes. You take clinical interviewing and ethics. These are some of those key classes that you need as a prerequisite to move into your practicum in year 2. And first-year students are typically going to be on campus 2 to 3 days a week. We usually try to stack it so it's a full 2 days, but sometimes it does spread across 3 days, just depending on scheduling. You would have about 13 hours of classroom instruction when you're taking those 13 credits in the fall and 13 in the spring for each week. In both years 2 and 3, students do have practicum placement, usually about 16 to 20 hours per week. And that's while continuing coursework. And typically you're down to 1 long day on campus. So starting in the morning and then going into the early evening. And if we can move on to the next slide here. Also, year 3 is when students do their dissertation proposal. And year 4, that includes advanced practicum opportunities. Some of our students do that to make themselves more competitive for internship year or maybe make up some hours. This really is just giving students more depth in clinical practice. Also in early August, right before year 4 begins, students do take excuse me, a comprehensive exam. So once students find out they've passed comps, that's when they'll start applying for internships. And then finally, year 5, that is dedicated to full-time pre-doctoral internship. So the dissertation must be completed before starting this internship. Also, something else to note is that we do have 12 credits of electives. As both Megan and Dr. Scanlon mentioned, we are that generalist PsyD designed to produce diverse practitioners of psychology, but students really get to develop their specialties and areas of interest through these elective courses and practicum and dissertation and, of course, internship. So now that I've walked through just a brief structure of the PsyD program, I'd like to turn now to some of the details that really shape the experience. Now, Dr. Scanlon, as program director, you and your faculty, of course, guide students through each of these big milestones. So could you start by talking about the dissertation process and how students move from that proposal stage in year 3 to completion before internship? What does that look like?
Yeah, so way before year 3, so when they first get here, they're actually in the first semester, they start to talk a little bit about what their dissertation interests are. And that kind of develops along the way as they get more classes, as they get some practicum experience. And so by the time they hit their 3rd year, this is where they do a proposal. And so this is, getting all the background information, the hypotheses, etc. How are they going to collect their data, and we require quantitative or qualitative studies. So APA wants something that can contribute to the field, and so that's why we have this requirement. So when students are done, we want their dissertations to be able to help others. I mean, that's what we're doing, right? Versus just helping ourselves, which might be something people do in master's thesis and whatnot. So in their 3rd year, the spring of their 3rd year, they'll do a proposal, and then that'll clear them for where the faculty think that the study is valid enough to continue. Then they go through an IRB process, which is the Institutional Review Board, which reviews the study, make sure it's safe. And then they might collect their data in the fall of their 4th year and analyze it, write it up, etc., and get it done by the spring of their 4th year. So we also have a requirement of being done with your dissertation prior to internship. We realized that if students don't finish their dissertation prior to internship, it ends up hurting the quality of their internship and their dissertation. So that's why we have it prior to going on an internship. And it's a good thing too, because some students, even though they finish their internship, they still might have their dissertation to do, and it throws off their postdoc placements, etc. So we decided on making that change years ago. So yeah, so that's basically what our dissertation process is. We also have new word limits. So, where a lot of programs might have, allow 200-page dissertations, we realize that those types of studies don't benefit the public. So we want them publication ready so that you could submit them to a journal right after. So I think the word limits are like 10,000 or something, which is about what journals would require, that lower limit versus, again, a 200-page book dissertation. So yeah, so that's the dissertation.
Okay, great. Thank you. And another question for you, Dr. Scanlon. What kinds of practicum sites are available, and how do you help match students with placements that fit their interests and career goals?
Yes, so it changes every year just depending on what the needs of the students are. We have about 16 or 17 different practicum sites. I have a list of Asset School to, we have an assessment center on campus. There's a Hawaii Youth Correctional Facility, Dr. Duke, like Megan said. Family Strengthening Center has a lot of court-ordered families for assessment and treatment. Hawaii Neuropsychology, Hawaii State Hospital, Tripler Army Medical Center, Counseling Center at UHS Oahu, Waianae Coast Community Health Center. So there's a broad list of practicum sites to kind of fit the interests of the students, and so there are a lot. What happens is the spring prior to being placed, so this will happen, let's say, if you're looking to go to practicum in your 2nd year, so spring for the 1st year students, they get a list of all the practicum sites. They do applications. They get offered interviews. They conduct the interviews. The practicum sites do a match. So we have a match process. So they submit a list of their preferred students. On the flip side, the students also do a list of their preferred sites, and then we match them up that way. Yeah, I don't know, is it Tinder? I don't know what it is now. Maybe it's that, algorithm, I don't know. But it's something similar to that, and we kind of mirror it after the internship APIC process that they have, which is how students get placed, across the country at their internship sites, which is similar to like medical school has the same type of format matching system. So yeah, so hopefully that answers that.
Yeah, it does. And then just to wrap up here, since you had mentioned the internship and APIC, how have our students done in securing placements for internship?
I would say pretty good. We're above average, and I don't have the average off the top of my head. This year is pretty strong, 95% match. So I think 20 out of 21, and that 21st one withdrew their application and wanted to. I think she was looking to do some family time for the year, so that's why she wasn't placed. But usually the students all get placed at their different sites. And it often just depends on their life circumstances if they don't.
Okay, great. And then we did just have Yeah, we'll answer a couple of these questions now. More may come in and we'll have a Q&A at the end. But just to address a couple of these questions about practicum, do you use a different practicum site each semester, or can you repeat location?
It varies. So you're committing to the site for the entire year. So that's how that work. You can stay at the same site if they offer if they offer that. So your second year practicum is for assessment, and your third year is for intervention. So some assessment sites don't have intervention training, and vice versa. Some intervention sites don't have assessment training. So you would have to change in those situations. Some sites have both. So Waianae Coast Community Health Center, they have both. Family Strengthening Center has both. So you can stay at the same site if you want. Some faculty encourage that you switch. Yeah, I don't have a strong opinion on that. Some say you just stay with it because if that's your interest, stick with it and get even more hours. But that's that's kind of how that works. It kind of just depends. The other part is even though if you want to stay at the same site, they have to match you, right? So they might think you should move on, for example. And so you might be placed at another site, second on your list.
Okay, great. And then the one other question we can address right now, what happens when you don't place? Is the internship placement similar, and is the internship placement similar to the practicum matching process?
Yeah, so for practicum, we make sure you get a site. So no student has gone without a site I don't know, since I've been here. We have it, and this happens in internship too. So they have a first round match, and then if it doesn't work out, and it's the math, right? So sometimes it doesn't work out, then there's a second round where students get placed through that set of matches, and then if after that they call it a clearinghouse, and then it's just whoever's left over. And so that's how that the internship one works. We don't have control over that. That is done by an outside national agency. I don't know, whatever APIC stands for. But they handle it for all the psychology internships across the country. Practicum is handled in-house, and like I said, everybody does get matched. So you will be at a site for sure. So there's no delays in your study plan because you didn't match somewhere. We make sure you get somewhere. Internship, usually people get placed if they want it. Again, it can come down to the clearinghouse part, and it's just a matter of, are you going to go to Nome, Alaska? Which I brought that up because we did have a student who ended up getting placed there. She wasn't very happy about it because it's in Nome and we're in Hawaii, and got up there and just loved it. In fact, she's there now. This happened 4 years ago or something. So pretty crazy story. But yeah, so that's how that works. But again, the internship matching process is outside of our control. Practicum is in-house.
Okay, great. Thank you, Dr. Scanlon. And we'll be hearing, excuse me, we'll be hearing more from Dr. Scanlon in just a little bit when we talk about admissions committee insights, but I am going to pass it back over to Chris Martin, who's going to be talking about admissions requirements.
Thanks, Lisa, and thanks, Dr. Scanlon. Pretty cool that we had internship in Nome, Alaska. I really want to go visit that place. I recently read a book about kind of the history of the Iditarod race and the dog sledding up there. Quite the difference from bright, sunny Honolulu, but still very cool that our student loved living in Nome. Okay, so on to the admissions requirements, which really is my area of expertise. So let's take a look at it. First, applicants need to hold either a bachelor's or a master's degree from a regionally accredited institution. In terms of academics, we're looking for a minimum undergraduate GPA of a 3.0 or higher, or a graduate GPA of a 3.25 or higher. Finally, applicants should have completed a set of foundational courses, which help ensure readiness for doctoral level work in clinical psych. So you might be asking yourself, what are those foundational courses? Well, here they are. So the Hawaii School of Professional Psychology requires applicants to successfully complete 5 free credit courses that serve as a basic foundation for clinical psych. So those classes are an introduction to psychology or general psych, abnormal psychology, psychopathology, or maladaptive behavior, statistics or research methods, and then 2 additional courses in the field of psychology. So make sure when you send over your transcripts that you have fulfilled these 5 requirements before you move forward with the application process. All right, and now let's take a look at some of our application and deadline specifics. So we'll also need to see a personal or professional goal statement, a resume or CV, 3 letters of recommendation, and official transcripts. If you have any issues obtaining official transcripts, just let me know. But typically these are all sent electronically in the year 2025, and they're usually sent through third-party services like Parchment or National Student Clearinghouse. So make sure you connect with your prior institutions, go to your records or registrar's office, and get those sent over to us. It usually takes less than 24 hours. The GRE is not required. And here are some important deadlines. So January the 15th is the application deadline. After that, we'll be conducting interviews in February and March. Decisions will be sent out. Students will be notified of their decisions in mid-March. And please respond to your offer of admissions by April the 15th. And obviously this all happens in the year 2026 for a 2026 start in fall. All right, so now I'm going to hand it over back to Lisa, who's going to talk a little bit more about financial aid and scholarship opportunities. Take it away, Lisa.
Okay, the fun stuff, right? Yeah, let's talk about tuition and financial aid. So the PsyD program, as I mentioned before, it is 103 credits total, and the tuition is currently set at 1,350 per credit. So as you all know, it's definitely an investment, but keep in mind that the cost is spread out over the 5 years of the program. The first year will be the most expensive since you will be taking the largest number of credits. Now, in terms of funding,
Thank you for your patience. It looks like we're having a little bit of tech issues, but thank you for your patience while we try to sort this out. If anybody has any questions or anything kind of right now that I can assist with, I'm happy to kind of share my experience if anyone has any questions while we work this out.
all right, we're back. Our office, the graduate admissions office, just lost internet for a moment. So I think Chris is going to be getting back on. Let me admit some people that are jumping into. Okay, there we go. Sorry, guys.
Lisa, I told you gotta pay the bill. You can't just put it off.
No. All right.
I think
Okay.
I overheard Megan really holding it down while we're out. So maybe we get her a nice scholarship
I
for the
like that
upcoming
idea.
term.
Did you hear that, Dr. Scanlon?
Oh my gosh. I don't know if you guys would rather just keep talking to Megan than hearing about a federal loan reform, but we apologize for that. It looks like, yeah, we're still recording, so we are good. Okay, so as I was saying, the one big beautiful bill, this legislation could impact graduate borrowing limits and repayment options. And we will keep you all updated as soon as the Department of Education really finalizes details. So one of the biggest changes is that the Graduate Plus loan will be discontinued after July 1 for new incoming students. Not all of our current PsyD students use Grad Plus, but for some, it has been an additional resource. For most graduate programs, borrowing limits will be capped at $20,500 annually through the federal direct unsubsidized loan. However, there is encouraging news for you all as future clinical psychology students. The legislation currently lists clinical psychology as a Group 2 professional degree. So what does that mean? Well, that designation may qualify you for higher annual loan amounts above that $20,500 cap. Specifically clinical psychology, again, in this Group 2 programs, which are projected to allow an additional, right now the range they're saying is about $12,000 to $16,000 above that $20,500. And again, that's in unsubsidized loans. So that would bring the annual limit into that $32,000 to $37,000 range. We know this is still evolving and we wish it were more concrete for you right now. This is really the first cohort of graduate students and PsyD students that this is really impacting. But just remember, these are federal government policies. These are not institutional policies. It is smart to start doing some general research now. So you're prepared once you're offered acceptance into the program. That said, our financial aid team here at Chaminade can only really begin working with clinical psychology students once you've been admitted into the program. Until then, the best resource I can share are some websites. I am actually gonna copy some websites here. I'm going to put them in the chat, and it looks like we have a pretty active chat going right now. But I'm going to post, hope everybody's seen that. I posted three different links. I would encourage you all to copy those or bookmark those. The first is a Chaminade webpage that provides summaries of federal changes, as well as provides resources to find additional details. This page is going to be updated as we receive additional information from verifiable sources, such as the U.S. Department of Education. Another link that I provided is from the National Association of Independent Colleges and Universities with some good information on graduate program loans, and which ones fall into these professional degrees and what that means for borrowing limits. On this page is where you'll see the different classifications, such as like medical school or dentistry being a Group 1 that has more borrowing. And then clinical psychology falling into this Group 2 professional degree category. I also provided a link for American Savings Bank, who is a local lender here in Hawaii that offers competitive private loans for students. And they may even just continue to adjust their options in response to these federal changes as things become more concrete. It's very dynamic, lots of changes happening. We will continue to update our website as new information becomes available. But again, I definitely recommend copying those websites or bookmarking those because there's some good resources there for you. And then if we move on to the next slide here, we do encourage our students to apply for institutional scholarships. So for those that are admitted into our program, you will be invited then to apply for our cultural commitment, our leadership, and our rural health scholarships. Applications typically would be open from March to May with awards made in June. In addition, you can always pursue as many outside scholarship opportunities as possible, but these three are the ones that Chaminade offers specifically to PsyD students. Our scholarship application would include submitting, an essay and specific scholarship letters of recommendation. Nothing you need to do right now for a scholarship application. If offered acceptance to the program in March, you will receive an invitation to apply for a scholarship. All right, and let's move on to the next slide here. Okay, so at this point, you might all be asking yourself, would I be a good fit for the PsyD program? Well, that is definitely a natural question, especially given how competitive the program is and the process. Just to be transparent, each year we do receive about 200 applications. The faculty usually interview about 100 applicants. And then we typically extend about 50 offers of admission for that final cohort size of about 30 to 35 students. So with that context in mind, I'd like to ask Dr. Scanlon to share some insights from the admissions committee perspective. I have a few questions prepped already that I think might be helpful for everybody to hear. So Dr. Scanlon, when you and the committee review applications, what qualities or characteristics really stand out to you as signs of a strong applicant?
Yes, this is a great question, and I don't know if there's a definitive answer because different faculty value different things, at different levels. So I would say in general, to be successful in the program, which is what we're looking for, is you have to be strong academically. You have to be strong so far as interpersonally in your practice clinically, so that you can go ahead and help people, which is what we're doing. And the other part is interpersonal so far as taking feedback, growing, humility, those types of things, being supportive of classmates and those types of characteristics. So usually those three we're looking for. When you guys walk across the stage in 5 years or 6 years, we're going to need all of those to be maxed out. So because we as a faculty are very committed to making sure that we are producing graduates that can help people out there and not hurt them. I think other programs just want to get you guys in, get the tuition, pass you along, and good luck. Hopefully you don't hurt anybody. That's not our faculty. We have almost all of us are active practitioners, and that won't fly. So we are looking for certain types of students that can eventually go out and help people. So and those three areas are usually would be the best. So can you do well in classes and learn, so that you can get the skills? Can you apply the skills? And then do you have the capacity to get along with supervisors and peers, so that you can grow as you move on in the profession? So those are the three things in general. So Lisa, you probably have more specific things for me or questions?
Yeah. So from an academic standpoint, what type of coursework or background, really just helps students succeed in the program? We get people that, didn't, major in psychology. And so what does that really need to look like for them to come in and be a strong applicant?
Yes, we definitely have some diversity in that sense. So we have people with masters in psychology that come in. And we've had in the past had people that haven't even majored in psychology. And those that got in, they had a lot of the other special traits, so far as experience also in the field, even though their degree wasn't in it. So it does vary across students. But in general, so far as academics, if you are majoring in psychology, took a lot of psychology courses, did well in them, um, that would help, right? Because you're going to be sitting in our classes, and how well you did in previous classes is a good predictor for, oh, I'm sorry, is a good predictor on how you do in our classes. So that's the academic side. So far as practice-wise, having experience in psychology is helpful. So it doesn't have to be in psychology, but in working with people. So, are you from crisis call centers to RBTs, which is working with kids with autism, all types of things. So we have even like summer fun counselors. Anything that has to do with people is important to us. Again, we're not looking for someone who just has straight A's in psychology and has never worked with anyone, because then how do you know you'd be a good clinician? You're going to need to have that taste of helping someone, because that's going to help you get through the 5 years. So I would say those things along the lines of experience and academics, you need those strong letters of rec. And so that carries weight as well. So, are they a professor at the school? Are they a psychology professor? Is it a reputable school? Um, Same thing on the experience side. If you worked under a clinical psychologist, that's usually stronger than a friend, and things like that. So, um, I would say that's it. There's the statement that you have to write. So, um, that one is hard. I don't know really what the other faculty members like in a statement. But I could say that you make sure it's well organized, and error-free, which is a good thing because you got to write reports, right? And so if you can't put a two-page statement together and organize, then it makes us wonder if you can do a report in class or even a psychological eval when you get out there in the field. Am I missing anything, Lisa?
No, I think that was great. And before we open it up more for Q&A, if you could give one piece of advice to prospective students about how to, stand out in the application process, what do you think that would be?
I don't think I have an answer for that. It would be maximizing what you have. So, and those areas, I should say. So, having a very strong GPA, that would stand out. Having very good experience in the field, that would stand out. Letters of rec from, impressive writers, that would stand out. Um, and of course, the interviews, doing really well in an interview can also make the difference too. So far as, relatability, like I said, we're all psychologists, so there's a lot of analysis that goes on while you're being interviewed. So being strong there can also help an applicant.
Okay, great. Thank you. All right. Well, I'm going to kick it back over to Chris, and I think we're going to wrap up soon. We can stay on a little bit longer, but we want to be mindful of everybody's time, and we'll be able to get questions answered.
Thanks, Lisa, and thanks, Dr. Scanlon, for sharing your insights. As Lisa mentioned, we do have a few more questions coming through. We want to be mindful of people's time. We are recording this session, so if you want to revisit this, we're going to try to post this on our website as soon as possible, and or YouTube. And then if there's questions that you wanted to ask us, like specifically or not in a group setting, you can always email us at psyd@chaminade.edu. I've also included my email there as well. So let's see. It looks like our team has done a pretty good job of answering most of these questions. So thank you, team, for hanging out in the back. Megan and Kapili, Lisa, thank you.
Let's see here. Oh, sorry. It does look like a bunch are answered. Sorry, Chris, didn't mean to interrupt you.
No, that's okay. I'm just going to start highlighting or mentioning ones that haven't been answered yet in the chat. So one of the questions is, if an applicant's major was not psychology, does a high GPA still carry weight, or do you mainly look at the grades from the psych courses specifically? Dr. Scanlon, could you answer that?
Unfortunately, it's going to be the same. It's hard to tell. Again, we don't have these cutoffs where you need so much in psychology. It's kind of what the reviewer sees. In general, yeah, if you have a high GPA, you know, that's good. If you don't have that good a GPA but have strong psychology classes, that helps. You know, we have had over the years a lot of students that have gone the pre-med route, taking those brutal organic chem classes and that path, and not done well, that has brought their GPAs down. And yeah, the faculty understand that part. And then again, we're looking at how you did in the psychology classes. Again, we're trying to find the best predictors to see how you're going to do in our classes, how you're going to do out at practicum sites. And again, are you going to be a well-trained graduate when you walk across that stage? So, yeah, I think that answers that.
Thank you, Dr. Scanlon. We also have some questions if we have military students. I can answer this in a general sense. We do have military students. We are a very military-friendly school in general here at Chaminade. Dr. Scanlon, do you know off the top of your head if we have any recent graduates who were military?
Yes, we have a lot of the retired ones. We also have some that signed up for they got into a special program. I think the Air Force has one, and that have enlisted through them and get to continue on with the program. Active military is a tough one because we have all in-person classes. The demands of being at a practicum site are sometimes hard to do with your other obligations. But we've had all different types of military students, yes.
Thank you, Dr. Scanlon.
And I see a question that I can just answer. It says, if I get rejected for fall 2026 and reapply for fall 2027, will my application be negatively impacted? To be transparent, the Faculty Admissions Committee probably won't even know that you were rejected the year before because of the amount that they receive. Chris and I will know, but we don't pass that on to the admissions committee. You're just going forward to review as a new applicant the following year. We've had for sure a few students get rejected, come back as a stronger applicant, whether that's the following year or 2 years later, or maybe 3 years later, and get admitted into the program. So I always say it's not the end of the road. If you do get that denial letter or a waitlist letter and you never get in, you can surely resubmit an application the following year. If it's a denial letter, typically, you know, you're only going to get admitted if you do something different. And usually that's adding more clinical experience or more education. And usually it could be a combination of both, just coming in as a stronger applicant.
Awesome. Thank you, Lisa. All right. Well, we are at the 1:31 mark. So unless there's any super pressing questions, again, you can always just email us, PsyD@chaminade.edu. I've also included Christopher.Martin@chaminade.edu, and I'll do my best to answer those. And if not, I usually consult with Kapili and Dr. Scanlon on those. We had a question, does the application open later today? The application is currently live, so you can apply now. Lisa or you, Noguchi, if you wouldn't mind just throwing the link to the application in the chat, that would be great. And we are also going to waive the $50 application fee for all those who joined today. So thank you for spending your afternoon or your morning, depending where you're joining us from today, probably in the afternoon, we'll waive the $50 application fee. If you've already applied, unfortunately, we cannot issue refunds, but we will be able to waive all new application fees. And then, yes, Uniguchi just posted the link there. So please click on that if you haven't already applied. And Kapili is taking attendance, so we'll make sure that we apply the application fee to your portal. And we're getting a lot of thank yous, so you're very welcome. It's been a pleasure to interact and engage with each of you. I look forward to receiving some emails and getting a bunch of great new applications through my inbox. Thank you, everyone. Mahalo and aloha. Oh, and also just thanks to our panelists, Megan, Dr. Scanlon, Kapili, Lisa, for
Thank you,
those.
Megan.
Thanks, everyone. Yeah, be sure to email us if we weren't able to answer all your questions. I know this chat has a lot of activity, so we'll be sure to get all your questions answered. Thanks, aloha.